Here we are at Silver Reef, Utah. And this is the panorama. And I'll explain the significance of being here in just a moment. But we are on the pinnacle where the town was. And there's Loretta. And these are the ruins. And that's the Wells Fargo office at the time he was here.
1876. When did he leave here?
1876. We are here in Silver Reef where my grandfather, James W. Nixon II, married to Effie Dean Woolley. But at this time that he was here, it was shortly after his father's death. He felt that he had the responsibility of the family and had to come to Silver Reef to find work. This was a mining town. And we are just a few miles from St. George. He was not very old, had not married, of course, and came to find money to support his family, his mother and the rest of the children in the family. He came here and started working for a man to help him out, and I'm going to give you his words, what he said about this time. A year before going to Salt Lake, after Father's death, I went to Silver Reef to get a job and found one working for an old man in the cedars burning charcoal for sale at Silver Reef. He was a kind old fellow, but very dirty and profane. And so I took the first job that I could get and left him and went to work for A.P. Hardy. His nickname was Gus, hauling ore with 4 horses up from the reef down to the Bella Hill on the Virgin River. While still working for Gus Hardy, he had been selected as a mail contractor to start the Star Route mail from St. Thomas, Nevada to Mineral Park, Arizona. We're leaving here to go to those areas, and we'll show you where it is. This St. Thomas is under the lake at Lake Mead, made from the Hoover Dam. He selected me as one of his riders, as this was to be a pony mail, for the reason that I had done so much horseback riding in the last 4 years. Edward Teddy Kelsey was hired for the other riders, and Mr. Hardy went up over the route for the first trip. This route was from St. Thomas, as we've said, Nevada, down the Virgin Rivers to Bella Ferry, and we'll go there, which was kept by Mr. Bell and his wife, who always reminded me of an old witch, yet they were always kind to me. There we crossed the Colorado River on a ferry boat, and from there we crossed the desert to El Dorado Canyon, where we had to again cross the river to get to the El Dorado City or mining camp. Here we changed mail and then returned back across the river to the same point we had just left, and from there we started for Mineral Park, Arizona, across the desert of about 45 miles, which brought us to a spring kept by a Mexican. There we changed horses again, as we would do at each of the former stops, and go on to Mineral Park. And mostly they rode mules. Mules were the standard for hard work and dependability, and especially for crossing the desert. So we're going to see the rest of Capitol Reef, and then we'll go on to these other places.
Well, I was going to... This building, Wells Fargo, was built in 1876, so it would have been here when he was here.
Wells Fargo and Company Express Building. Built 1877. Architect unknown, used by Wells Fargo Company and by St. George Merchants, Woolley, who is our relative, Lund and Judd. This is city directory. This is what a 20-mule team looked like. Thank you very much. Well, St. Thomas is where grandfather J.W. the First, Effie Dean Woolley, his wife, but when he was a young man, he started the pony mail at St. Thomas, which was just about over there, down on the Muddy, which entered the Virgin, which he followed down. Very interesting. We thought this was going to be open, but I guess it's not. This gives you an idea of what the country looked like. Up this road is Overton, and these are the mountains and the bluffs the grandfather would have seen as he came down to go to work at St. Thomas on down to Arizona. We are at this moment at Overton Beach, so-called. And right where I'm looking right now, up the Muddy River, which is what this is right here, now an arm of Lake Mead. That was a muddy river that came in, and St. Thomas was right up the river. On this side of the river, and the road was closed, as you just saw. So this is when he left St. Thomas. This is where he'd start with his mules or horses, and we'll be down in that gulch where the river was. It's now Lake Mead. So then on and up. Right now we're standing at Bonelli, what they call today Bonelli Landing. Bonelli Landing is it's just down from where Bonelli Crossing was on the Colorado, where the Virgin comes in. Right up here, right up there is the bay where the Virgin River comes in, just around that little piece of hill there. And buried under Lake Mead now, just almost straight where we're looking, is where the Virgin came in to the Colorado River. And that's where the crossing was made. The ferry was Bonelli Ferry. And that's why this is called Bonelli Landing on Lake Mead. This is actually where grandfather came up from the ferry and came onto this road where we are now, and came up on this road and went up this valley. and went on up to El Dorado, and then back and on further to the end of the route.